Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is non-Messianic Conversations. This is our Tuesday Bible briefing, um, the 6th of January, 2026. Okay, our topic today is a greater understanding of the God of Israel. That's how I'm going to title it. So tie your shoes up because we're going for a ride today. Okay, well, you can go to our non-Messianic conversations, go to our channel, non-Messianic conversations. Check out our videos. We have over 100 or so videos so far that we posted to this channel. These videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, it'll be greatly appreciated. And we have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen for those that want to support this channel or our other channel, the one Prophets of Awakening, or our sister channel, which is Israel Wake Up. So it's all tied to the same link. So if you feel the need to support the channel, it's all good. Okay. This channel was this is a non-Messianic channel for those that don't know. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah, Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to us, up to Moses by our Savior, our Redeemer, and our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, this channel was created to aid and assist all Hebrews who are waking up in these last days to their true identity, and also understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our Tuesday night Bible briefing. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, songs. We have some current events. We have some need to know information. Then we open it up for anybody with any questions, any comments, any dialogue or testimonies. And then we go into our topic for discussion, which is while you were watching Venezuela, uh, Trump quietly put Canada on notice. So we're gonna check that out, and we're gonna break it down. It's a lot of meeting that. So I'm gonna do what I can to break it down. And our scripture reading, like I said, I'll be breaking down a greater understanding of God Israel. We're gonna go to some scriptures, shine a light on what has already been revealed to us on this channel. Okay. So with that being said, then we'll pick a scripture, we'll break that scripture down, then we'll close out. Okay. This moment of silence for the Lord of hosts, and all of these doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in the last days. O Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God, and we make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongs unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face, as it is this day to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. Okay. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy people and thy sanctuary for your sake. O Lord, open your eyes and incline your ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not for thy own sake, for your people need you so very much at this time. Peace be unto you. Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna read a song right quick, and we'll get into it. Okay, okay, I'm gonna read Psalms 1. Blessed are the righteous. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of a scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in judgment, nor the sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Okay, so that was Psalms 1, and right. So to me, when I read that, it shines a light on me for the good fig and the bad fig, and we know how that goes. He's always going to take care of the righteous fig, and he's always going to bring judgment on the wicked fig. So if you ain't right, you can't expect it to receive anything from the Lord. Okay. So with that being said, go to our current events. Okay. Here we go.
Unexpected political pivot that has stunned international observers and Pan-African institutions alike. The African Union has just paid an official visit to Burkina Faso, a country it had long treated with suspicion, silence, and in some cases, open criticism. For over a year, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the military leader of Burkina Faso, has stood firm against waves of external pressure, foreign interference, and internal destabilization campaigns. Yet, despite the challenges, he has garnered overwhelming grassroots support and achieved tangible transformations in governance, security, and national pride. Now, for the first time, the African Union, once critical and hesitant, has come knocking. What they witnessed and what they heard directly from Traoré has not only forced them to reconsider their stance, but sent shockwaves throughout the continent. This is the story of a defiant nation, a misunderstood leader, and the awakening of a continent. Since Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power in 2022 through a military transition, Burkina Faso has been at the center of continental and global debate. The African Union, like many international bodies, initially condemned the transition, citing concerns over democratic norms, the rule of law, and regional stability. Behind the diplomatic language, however, was a deeper tension. Traoré's unapologetic rejection of neo-colonial influence, particularly France's, and his pursuit of Pan-African alliances outside the Western sphere of influence.
If you're working on a project at home and tired of constantly changing disks,
moves, while celebrated by many African youths, was seen by the African Union's traditionalists as radical and destabilizing. Over time, Burkina Faso faced sanctions, was excluded from regional summits, and remained under heavy scrutiny. Yet through it all, Traoré remained undeterred, declaring that sovereignty and the people's welfare would not be traded for diplomatic applause. The turning point, an invitation and a conversation. The recent visit was not merely ceremonial. It was the result of growing pressure within AU ranks from younger member states and reformist voices who urged the Union to engage, not isolate, Burkina Faso. After months of negotiations and quiet diplomacy, an official African Union delegation, led by top commissioners and political affairs advisors, landed in Ouagadougou. The mission? To understand the ground reality, and crucially, to hear from Captain Traoré himself. In a highly anticipated closed-door session that lasted several hours, Traoré laid bare his administration's vision, his challenges, and his roadmap for Burkina Faso's future. He spoke with conviction about national security reforms, agricultural revolutions, youth empowerment initiatives, and his strategy to rebuild state institutions from the bottom up. Found implications. For one, it signals a new willingness to break away from externally dictated norms and begin defining African progress on African terms. Secondly, it reignites the push for a united Africa that is economically interdependent, militarily cooperative, and diplomatically assertive. Traoré's emphasis on local manufacturing, internal security, and food sovereignty aligns with the aspirations of many African countries seeking to exit the cycle of dependency. Already, the visit has spurred renewed debates in parliaments across Africa, with some opposition parties calling for similar self-reliant models in their nations. More than any institution, it is Africa's youth that have resonated most with this shift. Across social media platforms, the hashtags #Traoré was right, #Africa for Africans, and #NewAU have trended for days. Young people from Kenya to Cameroon are calling on their leaders to follow Burkina Faso's example. Put the people first, invest in local capacity, and cut the cords of foreign control. Traoré has become not just a leader of a nation, but a symbol of a generational revolt against the status quo, rewriting the African Union's mission. Perhaps the most powerful consequence of the AU visit is the potential recalibration of the Union itself. Long accused of being slow, bureaucratic, and detached, the African Union is now being pressured to evolve into an institution that represents not just the elite, but the everyday African citizen.
Okay, so you see right here, like I said, I've been screaming this one at the top of my lungs forever, how that we're in a transitional phase, and then in next month, AU is going to become one body, and so these people then watched what was going on over in with Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger, and now they've sent a contingent to Burkina Faso, and it's obvious what they want to do. They want to take Traoré and make him the first AU leader. And believe me, the West and the US and everybody over here, they got a serious problem with it. So it already broke loose, but you got to be looking for, like Traoré said, violence is coming. This is what these people do. So any feedback?
Shalom, brother Leonard. I was just gonna say that video sounded like a AU ad for Torres presidency, and that's right. That's kind of what it was. But yes, sir, that's definitely what I see with the Black Winter coming, though, with him warning about that, just that they know what's coming to try to oppose that African Union.
Exactly. Right, and so like I was saying before, when everything you see going on right now is because of what we've been reading about, what we've been revealed to us as was prophesied by the Lord of hosts. It's already in motion, and these people because of where they originated from. They originated from rebellious angels, rebellious giants. And they're the children of those rebellions. So they rebelling against what the Lord of hosts already spoke it. He said he spoke it, he performed it, he bring it to pass, and they trying to usurp it. And that's what we're looking at. So it's not that they're gonna win. We know they ain't gonna win because we at the end. Okay? They ain't gonna win. So got anything else on that?
No, sir.
Okay, here we go. This part of it right here. Here's a example of it. Check it out. Okay.
Enforcement Administration says a week-long cartel crackdown led to nearly 200 arrests just in New England.
Keep that cartel, that word and what it means, cartel, keep that in mind. It's going to come up tonight a lot.
DEA says they were all members of the Sinaloa cartel, the largest drug cartel in the world.
4 a.m. Chicago, Illinois. The city known as the Crossroads of America was buried in the quiet hours before dawn. The skyscrapers stood silent against the wind coming off Lake Michigan. To the delivery drivers and early shift workers, the streets looked empty, but they weren't. In the shadows of the industrial rail yards and beneath the overpasses of the interstate, a massive mobilization was underway. It wasn't just a local police raid, it was the mobilization of an army. Unmarked vans, tactical armored trucks, and surveillance units from the FBI, ICE, and the DEA were moving in perfect synchronization. And this wasn't happening just in Chicago. At that exact moment, across 21 other major metropolitan zones, from the ports of Long Beach to the suburbs of New York, thousands of federal agents were initiating the largest offensive against organized crime in modern American history. The code name for the operation was simple: the Surge. The target was not a street gang. It was a multinational superpower, the Sinaloa and CJNG cartels. For years, they had operated with impunity, turning American cities into logistics hubs for their poison. But on this morning, the rules of engagement had changed. The order from the highest levels of government was clear: stop the drugs, destroy the networks, and bring those responsible to justice. If you support the brave men and women of ICE and the FBI who risk their lives to defend our nation from these foreign threats, hit the like button and comment ICE below. Let's show them we stand with them. For decades, Chicago has been the beating heart of the cartel's distribution network. It is the central artery where fentanyl and meth arrive from the border, are broken down, and then pumped into the veins of the entire East Coast.
In an overnight ambush on Monday, the Army has given the Sinaloa cartel one of its biggest defeats in recent months.
The cartels treated this city like their own corporate headquarters. They had supply chains, accountants, logistics managers, and armed enforcers who acted as a private police force. But the most dangerous part of their operation wasn't the drugs. It was their invisibility. They hid in plain sight. They didn't just buy warehouses. They bought protection. Intelligence reports leading up to the surge revealed a terrifying reality. The enemy wasn't just climbing over a wall. The enemy was already inside. The cartels had evolved. They weren't just bribing criminals. They were infiltrating the very institutions sworn to stop them. As the convoys reached their targets, massive distribution centers disguised as legitimate trucking companies, the agents knew they were walking into a war zone. But they also knew something else. Some of the people they were coming to arrest.
There's a smoke screen, so keep that in mind. What you'll be looking at is a smoke screen, okay?
Weren't wearing cartel colors. They were wearing badges. The betrayal ran deep. Sheriffs, border inspectors, and federal officers had sold their loyalty for cartel cash. They had turned the shield of law enforcement into a sword for the enemy. As the first breach charges detonated against the steel doors of a warehouse in Chicago's industrial district, the war on drugs fundamentally changed. It was no longer a policing action. It was a purge. The silence of the morning was shattered by the sound of flashbangs and the shouting of federal agents. Federal agents, get down! The raid had begun, and for the first time in years, the Sinaloa cartel was about to feel fear. The scale of what agents found inside those Chicago warehouses was beyond anything seen in previous operations. It wasn't just bags of drugs hidden in tires. It was an industrial assembly line of death. When agents breached the primary logistics hub near the rail yards, they found the proof of how the cartels had transformed. Behind false steel walls and inside shipping containers labeled as industrial cleaning supplies, they uncovered the stockpile. The seizure logs paint a terrifying picture. In this operation alone, federal teams seized a staggering 8,818 pounds of fentanyl. To put that into perspective, just 2 milligrams can stop a human heart. What sat in that warehouse was enough potential lethal doses to kill the entire population of the United States multiple times over. But it wasn't just the drugs, it was the money. Agents discovered pallets of vacuum-sealed cash, cryptocurrency hardware wallets, and gold bars.
The DEA says this seizure is connected to 6 states and Mexico, all linked to targeting the Sinaloa cartel, which the Trump administration recently classified as a terrorist organization.
The total value of assets seized in this synchronized strike exceeded $200 million. This was the war chest of the Sinaloa and CJNG cartels. Funds used to bribe officials, buy military-grade weapons, and secure the supply chain. And then came the arrests. The coordination of the surge resulted in 5,000 suspects being taken into custody within months. These weren't just low-level dealers on street corners. These were the logistics managers, the chemists, the accountants, and the enforcers. The entire middle management of the cartel's American infrastructure was decimated overnight. This discovery revealed that the cartels are no longer acting like street gangs. They are functioning like multinational corporations. They have supply chains that stretch from the chemical factories in China and India, where precursors are made, to the super labs in Mexico, And finally, to these distribution hubs in Chicago. The investigation uncovered that the fentanyl crisis isn't an accident. It is a designed attack. A chemical weapon disguised as a narcotic, pumped into the heartland of America to destabilize communities and destroy families. The financial network exposed by the raid was equally sophisticated. Money collected in Chicago wasn't just driven south in trucks. It was laundered through shell companies, real estate deals in Miami, and offshore cryptocurrency exchanges.
Remember what he just said. Let me play it again. It's gonna come back up. Check it out.
Sophisticated. Money collected in Chicago wasn't just driven south in trucks. It was laundered through shell companies, real estate deals in Miami, and offshore cryptocurrency exchanges. The cartels were using the American banking system against America itself, turning drug profits into legitimate businesses like trucking fleets and nightclubs. We are tracking the names of the high-ranking officials and corporate entities linked to this financial network. To stay updated on who is exposed next in this ongoing war, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The raid also uncovered a disturbing link to the border crisis. Among the seized documents were internal communications showing how the cartels were using migrant flows to mask their shipments. They were overwhelming the border patrol with human waves, creating a diversion to slip these massive industrial loads through the cracks. But perhaps the most chilling discovery was the war supply chain.
It is not just a border crisis. Officials say it is a coast-to-coast cartel takeover. Federal agents in Portland, Oregon.
In Houston, a convoy intercepted as part of the surge was found carrying hundreds of military-grade firearms, AR platforms, 50 caliber rifles, and conversion kits hidden beneath crates of produce. These weapons were heading south to arm the cartel's private armies that would use them to protect the very poison being sent north. The surge proved that this is not a crime problem. It is a national security threat. The cartels have built a state within a state, and until this moment, they operated with near total impunity.
Okay. Let's get it.
Shalom, brother. This been going on a long time. So, so like when you said the smoke screen, yeah, why
now problem.
Right, right. Yeah, they're making it a big now it's a problem all of a sudden. This is normal business.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then some
right, because how they already rich, you know.
Right. This part of that black winter. Okay, I'm gonna show that.
Knew the hardest battle was yet to come because the enemy had one final line of defense: the corruption inside the U.S. government itself. As the dust settled on the operation, the headlines across the country focused on the staggering amount of narcotics destroyed. But for the agents on the ground, the most chilling moment of the surge wasn't finding the 8,818 pounds of fentanyl. It was seeing who was standing on the other side of the handcuffs. In the processing centers, amidst the thousands of cartel soldiers and logistics managers, there were faces that didn't belong. There were men and women wearing uniforms. The investigation revealed that the network had penetrated deep into the American justice system. County sheriffs, border inspectors, and even federal officers were taken into custody. These were the people sworn to protect the country. They had taken an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But blinded by greed and compromised by the cartel's endless supply of $200 million in cash, they became the enemy. They sold their badges, they sold their honor, and in doing so, they sold out their own communities.
Hebrews.
A ton of the synthetic opioid, enough for more than 20 million doses and worth nearly $400 million, was seized in Sinaloa, a region long linked to cartel operations.
The betrayal was systemic. In El Paso, a Customs and Border Protection officer was charged with waving through trucks carrying narcotics, using his federal authority as a shield for the cartel. In Arizona, supervisors were found burying trafficking cases to protect donors linked to shell companies. The arrogance of these officials was shattered the moment the FBI arrived. The badge that once protected them became the evidence of their treason. As they were led away in handcuffs, stripped of their authority, the message was sent loud and clear. The war has changed. The threat is no longer just outside the walls. It is inside. But this dark revelation also carries a beacon of hope. The system fought back. The surge was not just a victory of firepower. It was a victory of integrity. For every corrupt officer who took a bribe, there were 10 honest agents who refused to look away.
Okay, so let's look at it. We're gonna start dissecting this. So we saw all the drama that these people We know who they are. Trump, right? He's what you call that? Redneck. Let's call it. You're a redneck. So you got all these Christian nationalists and the plan that they had in place, Project 2025. They came and they did all this damage they done up until this point. Now the midterms coming. That's what this is. And then just like with JC, you got Negroes. It's being shown to them over and over again. He ain't real, but they can come and they go to talk about JC and they fall right into the fold. Just right here. They forgot what they done since January. All the executive orders, Elon Musk and all that. Now here they come, supposed to cleaning up America all over the place, raiding all these places. It's the midterms coming. They're trying to hoodwink you. Like I said before, you got Hodgin dialectic. You got Wendy's and KFC, same owner. You mad? You don't want to deal with KFC no more, so you're gonna start going to Wendy's, same owner. So that's what this doing. That's what they're doing. They're doing all this show of force and all this is to try to win the people over. Like they cleaned America up. America is really considered. Come on, way bigger than that. Believe me. And everything you see going on, you got to remember, like I said before, Trump is an idiot. He's a nut bucket. What you see going on, especially what I'm going to show you, is above his pay grade. He don't have the mindset for it. It's an ancient intelligence that's been passed down. Edomite bankers, like I showed you. These Edomites, they the ones that killed Julius Caesar. That's over 2,500 or so years ago. They killed him. They've been manipulating the currency, manipulating the world, the population ever since then. They pros at it. And you're looking at them right now at their finest. I'm gonna break that down, okay? Any comments, questions on that?
No, sir. No, at this time.
Okay. Yeah, so we gotta excuse me. I caught fire this morning, so yeah. So here we go. This is some need to know information. So what's going on right here, this video, and my reason for playing it is the world is terrified, right, of Africa. I just told you about what they getting ready to do. They lining up, they're getting ready in next month to become one block. And that block is $15 trillion worth of trade gonna be when they do that. And they're gonna have Tory over it. Tory gonna be the first president of that new block. And like I said, that we within 30 months, 30 days, maybe a little more, are doing that. And everything you see going on is because of that. To subvert it. Like I was saying before, it's on a major level. What they did back in Oklahoma with Black Wall Street is because of this, what we're looking at now. They never wanted to get to this level right here. So they would cut it off way out. The lynchings, hanging Negroes, certain Negroes, they unalived was for not to get here. But the Lord of hosts brought it to right where it's at now. So you guys to know, violence, these people violent. Like I said, they came from fallen angels, sleeping with women, got giants. Giants was violent. They the descendants of these giants. Contrary to what you want to believe. Okay, so here we go.
Imagine a single market spanning 1.3 billion people, a market that begins to rival the U.S., China, and the.
So it says everybody wants to associate prophecy with Genesis chapter 15, these 400 years, which I'm telling you, it ain't it's off. But here go the money you're looking at for us to get the hell out of here right here. Okay.
The entire European Union in economic weight. A market so vast, global powers are quietly worried. That market is now forming in Africa, and we're going to ask the bold question: why is the rest of the world suddenly on edge about Africa's economic future?
So it's a certain people they need to run this $15 trillion trade block. The children of Jerusalem, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, that they brought over here. They got to take them back over there. So $15 trillion, if you can't get Israel back to the west coast of Africa with $15 trillion, something wrong.
In the next 20 minutes, we'll uncover how the African Continental Free Trade Area could catapult Africa's GDP into dominance, and why this has governments and corporations scrambling. Stick with me. By the end, you'll understand not only the numbers, but the hidden power shift happening under our radar.
I think many Africans, millions and millions of Africans are tired of being poor. We are tired of being, as I said earlier, on the periphery of the global economy. We understand that many countries I go to understand that as a single individual country, the chances of success are limited. But if we integrate our market, if we consolidate ourselves into this market of 1.3 billion people, that becomes a very, very attractive investment proposition.
The AfCFTA offers a huge opportunity for those who will be doing manufacturing on the continent, because the market of Africa is big, 1.5 billion and counting. So as AfCFTA continues to be successful, then local manufacturers of health products will have a bigger and bigger market to access, and therefore be able to sell their products. In this way, we are very aligned with the AfCFTA.
But first, what exactly is the African Continental Free Trade Area? And can one trade pact really change the global order? Let's dive in.
Y'all gotta stop throwing our clothes in the dryer after my.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be calling these Hebrews out all through this video. So, because those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Okay.
Most of the African Union's 55 member states signed the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, a decision that officially came to life in 2021. With that move, Africa created one of the largest free trade zones on the planet, bringing together a population of roughly 1.2 to 1.3 billion people under a single economic framework.
This is the fastest instrument in the African Union to be ratified, which to me signals a political will and of course legal commitment for those who have deposited their instruments of ratification.
The scale alone is staggering. The combined GDP of participating countries stands at around 3.4 trillion US dollars.
Hebrews.
In other words, we're talking about a continent-wide market that is already operating in the trillions and home to more than 1 billion potential consumers and producers. And this matters because until recently, Africa's economies functioned in isolation, fragmented into dozens of individual markets, layered with heavy trade barriers, and held back by weak regional connections. African Continental Free Trade Area aims to change that by cutting tariffs, aligning regulations, and making it easier for African countries to trade with one another.
Because the character of Africa's economy is one that in general terms can be characterized as fragmented, smallness of national economies. Most of our economies are too small to be globally competitive individually. We have a lack of efficiencies, or rather lack of economies of scale, and many of us continue to export primary commodities to countries of the north, and we don't trade nearly enough with one another in value-added production. There is some, but it's not to the point where we actually would boost intra-Africa trade and enhance Africa's industrial development capacity. So the heads of states looked at this condition of Africa and said that we have to take concrete steps to reverse the situation, to place Africa on a path for industrial development and the ability of Africa for value-added production. It's very important that we move away from this over-reliance when we're exporting to the rest of the world. We move away from this over-reliance of primary commodities, or rather export on primary commodities, reliance on export of primary commodities. Very, very important. And so this is the underlying rationale.
Now, here's the question you should be thinking about at home. If Africa genuinely manages to break down its internal barriers and fuse 1.3 billion people into one integrated market, what does that mean for the rest of the global trading system? Keep that in mind. We're coming back to it.
How does
Isaiah chapter 60, verses 1 through 5. Arise and shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they that gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed upon thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, and because of the abundance of the sea be converted unto thee, for the forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee.
Integrating a 1.3 billion person market changed the way African businesses operate? How does it change business in Africa?
For businesses, it means scale. A manufacturer in Ghana doesn't have to think of 33 million people. So they can target over 1 billion. So with that, it encourages investment, innovation, and mass production.
So what it means is that businesses can scale, can produce more, and in turn make more profit.
Exactly.
Okay.
After doing an average of 1.1.
Okay, a little more of this. Okay.
Now let's talk about what African Continental Free Trade Area could actually do for the continent, the potential economic shift that researchers have been trying to quantify. Some studies paint a remarkably optimistic picture. One analysis suggests that if African Continental Free Trade Area is fully implemented, Africa's GDP per capita could climb to around $6,602 by 2043. Another report estimates that intra-African trade could surge by as much as 45% by 2045. And according to a blog drawing on World Bank data, the agreement might boost Africa's GDP by between 1.4% and 2.7%, increase foreign direct investment by a staggering 111 to 159%. Borders, moving goods within the continent remains expensive and time-consuming. Then there's the challenge of regulation. Trade rules vary widely from one country to another, and customs harmonization is still a work in progress. Non-tariff barriers persist, and institutional capacity differs significantly across the continent. One analysis even notes that African Continental Free Trade Area's early benefits have been uneven. Countries like Nigeria and Kenya are seeing better export diversification, while others are still struggling to catch up. And asking ourselves which one feels most realistic. In the first instance, Africa makes progress under African Continental Free Trade Area, but the journey is slower than hoped. Integration moves forward, yet familiar obstacles, logistical bottlenecks, regulatory gaps, uneven capacity keep the pace moderate. Intra-African trade still grows, perhaps by 20 to 30% by 2045, rather than the anticipated 45% in GDP.
Okay, so everything that you're listening to right here is the title of this video is "Why the World is Terrified of Africa's $15 trillion Trade Block." It will shock you, right? So it's all scripture, and that's what everything you see going on is because of this. Everybody jocking to try to make sense of what's going on right here, what the Lord host is doing. In the feedback.
Brother Leonard, shalom. I just wanted to second that scripture that you read. I mean, that's what I've been learning, and that's what it looks like is happening right in front of us. Forcing of the Gentiles.
All right, we got them. We've been like I said, got smoke screens up. They didn't just start putting these smoke screens up long ago when they concocted JC. That was a smoke screen. And now that we're in these last days and we're trying to figure out what's going on, and we can't see through the smoke because of what they got going on with JC. And Hebrews can't they can't see through it. And so, like I said before, what I got coming at the end of this video, at the end of this class, it's gonna be a doozy, right? So, with that being said, we're gonna open it up for some Q&A. Any questions? Anybody got any questions, comments about anything they came across they want to talk about, or anything they want to interject?
Shalom, yes, sir. Brother Leonard, can I read Genesis 11 verses 4 through 8 in the Targum, and can I get your breakdown of it?
Okay, what you got?
And it reads a lot different than it reads in the King James, and it says, and they said, oh, excuse me, hold on. And they said, "Come, we will build us a city and a tower, and the head of it shall come to the summit of the heavens, and we will make us an image for worship on the top of it, and put a sword in his hand to act against the array of war, before that we be scattered on the face of the earth. And the Lord was revealed to punish them for the work of the city and the tower which the sons of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and the language of all of them. And this they have thought to do, and now they will not be restrained from doing whatever they imagine. And the Lord said unto the 70 angels which stand before him, Come, we will descend, and will there commingle their language, that a man shall not understand the speech of his neighbor. And the angel of the Lord was revealed against the city, and with him 70 angels, having reference to 70 nations, each having its own language, and thence the writing of its own hand. And he dispersed them from thence upon all of the earth into 70 languages. And one knew not what his neighbor would say, but one slew the other, and they ceased from building the city. And shalom, that was Genesis 11, verses 4 through 8 in the Targum of Pseudo Jonathan.
Okay, yeah. So first thing I want to do is, like I was saying, what a lot of people don't understand is that you got the order that's in place before these people got hold to our records, and the understanding of our records was we had Yahweh in heaven, and then he created another being under him, the Lord of hosts, which is Michael. The first thing he created after when he started forming and creating things was Michael. And Michael he's unlike any other being that the Most High created. he's like Yahweh. And the reason that he created him was that he's a consuming fire, and he cannot deal with his creation. He's a consuming fire. He can't deal with sin. Anything that's not in order, he can't deal with it. So in order for him to deal with his creation, he created another being somewhat like him, but not like him, but like him, a righteous being. And from there, he created the other 6 angels. So you have to understand that from the beginning, and that's going to take us into the end of the class. But yeah, so you got to understand that. That's what happened. So with that being said, okay, can you go back again on that?
Oh, yes, sir. And it says, verse 4, and they said, come, we will build us a city and a tower, and the head of it shall come to the summit of the heavens, and we will make us an image for worship on the top of it, and put a sword in his hand to act against the array of war, before that we be scattered on the face of the earth. And the Lord was revealed to punish them for the work of the city and the tower which the sons of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, in the language of all of them. In this they have thought to do, and now they will not be restrained from doing whatever they imagine. And the Lord said to the 70 angels which stand before him, come, we will descend, and we will commingle their language, that a man shall not understand the speech of his neighbor. And the angel of the Lord was revealed against the city, and with him 70 angels, having reference to 70 nations, each having its own language, and thence the writing of its hand, and he dispersed them from upon the face of all the earth into 70 languages. And one knew not what his neighbor would say, but one slew the other, and they ceased from building the city. Shalom.
Right. So when you understand that, like one of the things they've done to us, like I said before, and maybe you know where that verse is at, but they said that in the beginning the Most High created the nations according to the children of God. Because the nation of Israel, right?
Right, yes, sir.
We know that ain't true because what you just read.
Right.
It's according to the 70 angels. But this is my point. So we see right here, I'm gonna give you an example. In Daniel, I think it is. Let me get it right quick. So Babel, what Babel means is confusion of face. That's one of the characteristics of the Lord of hosts. He brings, he turns in people, wicked folks in against themselves and destroy their own self. And another thing he does when you out of order and you're not living the way you're supposed to live or operating the way he told you to operate, he's gonna bring a confusion of face. So that's what these 70 angels was for. That was what those languages were for, to bring about a confusion. Okay, so let's look at that. I'm in Daniel, okay, chapter I'm gonna start at verse 5. It says, we have sinned. Daniel praying. This is prayer in Daniel 9, verse 5, starting at verse 5. We have sinned, we have committed iniquity, and we have done wickedly and have rebelled. Right? All this what brings about confusion of faith. Even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments, neither have we hearkened to thy servants the prophets. We have spake in the name of our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee. It's the Lord of hosts. But unto us, confusion of face. Right here. That's where the 70 angels come in. Because their objective is to build a tower contrary to what the Lord of hosts said. And notice the image that they want to build. The image that they want to manufacture got a sword. Let that front make. It says,
Right.
but under us confusion of faith, as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel are near and that are far off through all the countries where their eyes driven them because of their trespass. So this is one of the things that he do. And like I said, when he don't change. So he brought about right here at the Tower of Babel, 70 angels, and the different languages was to bring about confusion, which is that what Babel is. It wasn't nothing they was doing that was right. Everything they was doing was unrighteous. And that's why he brought confusion of faith. Okay. So yeah. So that make any sense?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay. You got anything else?
Shalom, brother Leonard. In where they say it differently in Deuteronomy 32, that's where they said like Deuteronomy 32:8, I think, where it says like you just referenced, they say the 70 nations are according to the sons of Israel.
Right. Can you read that?
Right. Yes, sir. In my fault, I had it in the Targum right there. Okay, yes, sir. So remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee your elders, and they will tell thee, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
So we know that's not true. So can you read that again?
Yes, sir. And it says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
So now my question is this. Where did Jacob come from?
From Isaac.
Jacob, what you just read, Jacob came from Adam.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're right there. You see that?
Right.
Okay, so it's not, he didn't, then at that point, in that time, in that scripture, we see right here from what you just read, it was these angels. That's what they don't want us to know. That's why they ban the book of Enoch and ban the book of Jubilees and all that, because they don't want us to understand how everything really was going about. He set the bounds when the earth was divided. He bound up the earth according to the angels, not no children of Israel. And then you say how we know that? Because in Daniel, when Gabriel came to Daniel, he told him, I heard you, Daniel prayed in chapter 9, and then Gabriel came 21 days later. And then he told Daniel, I heard you the first day you prayed, but I was held up by the prince of Persia. And then soon after him, the prince of Greece is coming. Well, who these princes is? Angelic beings that was given authority over certain parts, allotments over certain parts of the earth. Right there, what we just reading. Not sons of Adam, the sons of God. Okay? You got anything else?
No, sir. That makes sense to me. I wanted to get that breakdown because I came across that verse, and I actually read it first in Jasher. There's a verse that says that in Jasher as well, and I came across that and started searching for more about it. So yeah, I wanted to get clarification.
Right. So just for GP, what a lot of people don't know is Jubilees. So why is it called the Book of Jubilees? Because the Book of Jubilees, angels telling the story. The angels telling the story in Book of Jubilees, and they keep in time the way you keep time in heaven every 50 years. That's what a Jubilee is. Every 50 years, these angels are telling the story in Book of Jubilees. And like I said before, I continue to keep on bringing it forth. Is who you gonna listen to? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Peter, and Paul, or the angels? How you gonna give me Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but you're gonna ban the angels, what the angels say? Come on. Ain't that something?
Right, yes, sir. I'm believe the angels.
Well, yeah, exactly. All right. When you understand what's going on, you're gonna believe it. So yeah, so I'm gonna play this little sidebar I wanted to play. Let me play it right quick before we get started. Everything you see me playing tonight is tied to what's getting ready to happen. Okay.
And the reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached.
President Trump is now warning House Democrats.
I told you, the midterms is coming. That's what what we just saw. They're supposed to be cracking down on this and bringing all these people in. He's trying to paint this picture that he's some kind of reformer because we at the midterms. And he ain't got no good report after all the bullshit he's done since he came in January.
If they do not win in the upcoming midterm elections in November of 2026, then Democrats will impeach President Donald Trump for the third time. Keep in mind, in his first term as President of the United States, Democrats impeached him in the House of Representatives 2 times. However, it made it to the Senate and it never got the 2/3 majority. But now President Trump is saying if Democrats do win control of the House, he will be impeached. And the White House has been warning of this because what's going on right now and has been in the past is Democrats do not believe what President Trump is doing is to the best of the American people. Keep in mind, you can be impeached for treason, bribery, and for high crimes and misdemeanors here in the United States. Possibly, it just depends on how it's spun. But, okay, and this is the big thing. You need to have the simple majority in the House, okay, which right now there's a 5-vote majority for Republicans, but that could easily flip because every single House of Representative member is up for re-election. Every single member, what is this, 435 people, is up for re-election. Meaning, if this flips to Democrats, President Trump could be impeached, and he knows this. Okay? Let me show you something.
Okay, what you think?
Shalom. I think this is an interesting time, but I don't know if he'll be impeached or not, though. That's what I was gonna ask you, Brother Leonard. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah. If the Democrats get back in there, yeah, I mean, when you understand how these people operate, he didn't serve his purpose. He's not already served his purpose. Actually, if they leave him in there too long, he's gonna overstay his welcome, and he's gonna mess up what they got going on. So right. Me myself, I'm thinking that the time that he's gonna be in there is the time they want him in there. And they're gonna get him out. Like I said, it's not when you understand the ties that J.D. Vance got to Project 2025, he's serving a major purpose. His purpose ain't came yet. So you gotta understand that. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. When you say, what are you talking about? Well, they did the same thing with JFK and Lyndon Johnson. They used JFK for his charisma and his appeal he had on everybody, but the person they wanted in there was Lyndon Johnson. After JFK served his purpose, he was out of there. He was eliminated. Then Lyndon Johnson came in and served the purpose that they wanted for him to serve. Okay, the same thing when they brought in how they took control of our Federal Reserve. They used Wilson. They brought him in, and one of their men. And once he served the purpose of, he got the he got the money where these Edomites is over the Federal Reserve. He has served his purpose. These puppets, one puppet after another one. And like I said before, at the end of this conversation we'll be having tonight, this briefing, you're going to see that what you see going on on the world stage, it don't have nothing to do with Trump. He don't fit the bill. He's a puppet. They're using him. It's like I said, it's ancient knowledge, ancient genealogy that's been passed down that's doing this. They're using him as a puppet. They hide behind the scene. Just like what they did with the transatlantic slave trade. They got all these front companies, front people, but the whole time Esau was the one behind the transatlantic slave trade. He knew the history. He knew everything about what was going on. And he's the same one right now. He got stool pigeons and puppets that he got out there doing things for him. And like I said before, the temple. Notice how it came up and then it went back down and all that. The temple, all this what you're seeing now, these people want to build a temple. What you see going on, they trying to pave a way to build that temple. That's what it said. Remember that. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna go to our topic for discussion. And before I go into my scripture reading, dealing with and breaking down, or giving a greater understanding on what the God of Israel is, I'm gonna shine light on this because this right here is just as important. When I get ready to break down what's going on with the Lord of Hosts and the understanding that the knowledge that was downloaded, received. Okay, so here we go. This is another one of those things I said about how these Edomites work. Okay, I turned everybody on to this channel before, but I don't know if anybody really going back looking at it. But here we go. We might go a little bit over tonight because this is some high-powered information. Oh, this ain't it. Here we go. Let's check it out.
Focused on Venezuela.
So when you say Edomites, these Edomites right here, these females.
And Mexico and Cuba and Colombia. Donald Trump just quietly put Canada in the hot seat. Why? Because the operation in Caracas isn't just about Maduro. It's an opening salvo against the British Empire. Here's what the president said.
So we have to do something because we lost. The real number is 300,000 people, in my opinion. You know, they like to say 100,000. 100,000 is a lot of people, but the real number is 300,000 people, and we lost it to drugs, and they come in through the.
So let me shine a light on this. I didn't broke this down before, but maybe I need to refresh a few people's mind. They have these people that's over in Israel are Edomites, and they've usurped Israel's throne. They usurped Israel's land, and it's the harlot that the Lord is talking about, the whore. He's talking about in the last days. It's a fake woman in the land of Israel. So the information that they provided to us, to the population in the world, is that the throne of David is over in Great Britain. You say, what are you talking about? America came out of Great Britain and came here. It's 10 different incarnations of the four beasts. Great Britain is one of them. America came out of Great Britain, came here. But these Edomites, their objective is to bring the throne of David is in London. When they finish what they're doing, their plans are to bring that throne that the Windsors are, Queen Elizabeth and King Charles are sitting on, back to Jerusalem. When they build that temple, they want to bring that throne back to Jerusalem. You know, they're gonna televise it and use all this propaganda machine, that big propaganda machine they got. They want to bring it back to Jerusalem. That's what I'm telling you now. That's what we're looking at. They want to bring the whole world, because of they skills with economics and all that. They want to bring the whole world down. That's what we're looking at. And then they want to bring that throne of David back to Jerusalem. This is why you keep on hearing right here, they keep talking about Great Britain, when Great Britain is supposed to be done with. You would assume Great Britain was done with, but let's listen to it.
Southern border, mostly the southern border. Plenty come in through Canada too, by the way, in case you don't know.
But you're not supposed to notice that. The headlines covering that same press conference are focused on the usual targets, like this one in the New York Post. But while the empire's American propaganda arms want you focused on those usual suspects, by Sunday, the Canadians had figured out what I just told you. The editorial board of the Toronto Globe and Mail announced in their Sunday editorial that Venezuela's fate is a warning to Canada. Meanwhile, the rest of the narrative is being played out by the press, like the New York Times, which says that this is another regime change operation out of the Bush playbook and that it's going to split the MAGA movement. And of course, the New York Times' favorite new political figure, Marjorie Taylor Greene, played her part in feeding into the MAGA split narrative. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party is playing its assigned role in the narrative, shrieking about Trump's actions, and some are already calling for his impeachment. But here's where it gets interesting.
Here we go.
Some of Trump's opponents, like the former head of Britain's MI6 and walrus man John Bolton, immediately recognized that what the U.S. did in Venezuela was not a regime change operation. They're actually onto something.
So they got everybody in the media thinking that this is a regime change. But check it out where she's going.
It isn't regime change. It's a surgical strike against the British Empire's irregular warfare, and a key component of that, which we have long called Dope Inc., the nexus of narcotics trafficking, terrorism, and the City of London.
You go to cartels, I told you to keep an eye on with the cartel thing. Now watch this.
Centered banking system. And today we're going to break that down. I'm Susan Kokinda. I've been tracking this since the 1970s, watching how the offshore banking operation was set up to sidestep regulation, sovereignty, and law enforcement. And I'm here to tell you that for the first time, someone is taking that on, and it's Donald Trump.
Whoever invented this deserves a raise. Can't believe it.
Donald Trump, like I said, what you're getting ready to hear is above his pay grade. Okay, but we're gonna break it down.
If this sounds like your kind of fight, please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons so we can reach more people. Here's what we're going to cover today. First, it's not regime change, and the empire knows it. Second, how the empire's operations of dirty money is now in the crosshair, and the Russians know it, and how Trump is deploying to defeat all of these imperial operations.
We know that's a lie.
So let's clear up the biggest misconception right now.
Here we go.
Many former MAGA allies, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, are screaming that this is neocon regime change 2.0.
That's intentional. That's what I was telling you about. They got all these people out here. They do that. They got them like what he told Jeremiah. Look, you know, they got women weeping for Tomaz. They paid mourners. That's what this is. This is what you're looking at. Okay.
They're just looking at the surface or outright lying. But listen to Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Check it out.
He told us exactly what this is.
I want to start with this big picture question. Is the United States now at war with Venezuela?
Yeah, remember, you're a faggot and she a lesbian. I mean, we got to call it for what it is.
There's not a war. I mean, we are at war against drug trafficking organizations, and not a war against Venezuela. You cannot continue to have the largest oil reserves, in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, not benefiting the people of Venezuela, and stolen by a handful of oligarchs around the world, including inside of Venezuela, but not benefiting the people of that country.
Did you catch that? He didn't blame socialism. He didn't blame communism. He blamed oligarchs and drug trafficking organizations.
Watch this.
Now, that takes us back to Trump and his targeting of Canada, which no one seems to want to talk about. Because when you put the words oligarchs and drug trafficking organizations in the same context, you aren't just talking about the cartels in Mexico or Colombia. You're talking about key characteristics of the British Empire, which is the epitome of oligarchy. Or to put it another way, the rule of the few, which is what oligarchy means. And when it comes to drug trafficking organizations, the British Empire has been the most notorious entity in the world.
This is what I want you to. This is what I want you to get right here. I keep saying over and over again, they bringing it. They're using Trump because America is the you know, the leading economy in the world. Everything based off the dollar. They want to bring the whole world down, right? And so, but she's gonna tell you they got a whole truckload of money somewhere else. That's off the record. That's the money they're gonna use to come when Israel gonna rise up with it. They're gonna build a temple and all that with this money, this cartel money that they've been had. Watch this.
When it comes to making money off
nobody knows about. Check it out.
Drug trafficking, going back over 200 years.
200 years,
including the notorious opium wars of the 19th century.
Check it out.
This has never stopped. It's just taken a new form. And that's the importance of Canada in this picture. It is run by the empire's favorite central banker, Mark Carney. And it is the major political outpost for the crown in North America.
Check it out.
Used for drug trafficking, as the president mentioned,
that's where all the money
immigration and terrorism. Unlike, say, someone like Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, whom Trump accurately characterized as terrified of the cartels, Carney has actually facilitated the financing arm of the cartels.
Check it out.
In his former role as the head of the Bank of England. While no one else is picking up on the Canada angle, some interesting folks who are not exactly Trump supporters are picking up on another aspect of this, on the fact that what the US did in Venezuela is not regime change. Let's start with the former head of MI6, Sir John Soros. He isn't clutching his pearls about democracy. He recognizes this for what it is. What Trump did is a demonstration of raw power that bypasses the empire's rules-based order.
Well, first of all, I think I'd be cautious about using the phrase regime change. The Americans have abducted the leader of Venezuela.
The so-called pay grade, the average Negro.
Maduro, and taken him to the US to stand trial, but they are now already dealing with the regime. The army remains in power, the legal structures of the regime remain unchanged, and they're already talking to Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president who's been sworn in as the new president of Venezuela, and distance themselves from the opposition. So this isn't the sort of regime change of the sort that we saw in Iraq, and it's commensurate with the clear reluctance by Trump to put large-scale forces on the ground.
Sir John admitted this operation is new territory. He noted that Washington is already dealing with Maduro's successors and that the structures of the country remain. He knows this isn't Iraq, it isn't Tony Blair's regime change, it's something else. And he's not alone. Here's John Bolton.
But let's be clear, there's a big difference between getting Maduro and removing the regime. Right now, facts are scarce, that's for sure, but the regime is...
So like I said, I'm not going to stop it. I'm trying to let it roll. But so, like I said before, everything in the New Testament written in red. Where it come from? Everything is in the Egyptian Book of the Dead written in red. So like I said before, when you get to this point, when you got the revelation, understand what the New Testament is, they just talking. And we've been brainwashed. Everything they say, we believe what they say. But all they doing is talking. That's all these nut buckets doing. And we following the narrative. They just talking. They used to us following the narrative. So they put shit out there and then Negro grab onto it. Because they was raised in their educational system. So whatever they say, they going right along with it. But it's something else totally, they leading you down Prim Road, but something else totally going on. Okay, we're gonna get to the meat of this in a minute.
is still in power. And Trump, inexplicably today at his news conference, took a shot at the Nobel Peace Prize winning leader of Venezuela's opposition, Mrs. Machado, said she didn't have the trust of the Venezuelan people. So I think there's a lot of lack of clarity, to say the least, in Trump's thinking on this. And it would be a hollow victory indeed if we snatched Maduro but left his regime in place.
When MI6 and John Bolton are admitting that this is not standard regime change, and Trump's allies are confused, you know you're watching a higher level of warfare.
Exactly.
And this is exactly why you need to be plugged into Promethean Action. While so-called MAGA influencers are screaming regime change, but the former head of MI6 is calmly explaining that this is something entirely different, who do you think actually understands what's happening? We've been tracking British imperial operations in irregular warfare for decades.
Here we go.
We don't react. We don't chase headlines. We understand the enemy's playbook because we've studied it and fought it since the 1970s. So if you're tired of being confused by people who you think are on your side, subscribe to our free newsletter at Promethean Action.
Most people spend a fortune on supplements, doctor visits, and
we're gonna get there. We got all the time in the world. Here we go.
You see what Trump is actually doing so you can defend it and explain it to others. So head on over to Promethean Action and subscribe to our free newsletter. Now, here's what Trump is really going after.
Here we go, right
If
here.
this is a war on drug trafficking organizations and oligarchs, as Rubio says,
Right.
then it is automatically a war on the global banking system
Check it out.
because you can't separate the two. The target isn't just jungle labs and drug boats. It's the city of London. Let's remember where Venezuela is.
Right.
It borders the Caribbean. What else is in the Caribbean? The origin point for the infamous system of offshore banking.
It's another system. This is the system I'm talking about. Right here. This money off the record. Check how much it is.
Established directly by the British. Back in 1960, the largest banking houses in London, working in partnership with the government and the Exchequer, established 14 completely secrecy jurisdictions. These are the offshore banking centers that now hold between $50 and $75 trillion, with all 50 of the world's largest banks operating within them.
Off the record. Nobody know nothing about. This is what they're gonna use. They're gonna bring the rest of the world down. This is the money they're gonna use. Right here. Okay.
These offshore centers exist outside the control of sovereign governments. They're secret, they're unregulated, and they facilitate illegal activity. What we once had, a legitimate regulated banking system, has been transformed into a criminal enterprise.
Okay.
And interestingly, the Russians have known this for years and have been.
So like I said, everything you just saw was a joke. People that know, like she just said, Putin and Xi, oh, they know that's a joke. That's for us over here. The lowly Israelite, the Hebrew Christian. See, but all that's a smoke screen. They already know he's nowhere in hell. He's dealing with the cartels. That's where all their money at. That's the money they're gonna use after they, like I said, after they bring this whole system down, this global system down. That's what they're gonna use. Go back to Albert Pike. 3 world wars. After the last war, that's when this is what they planning to do. That's when Israel comes with the temple. It's all about the temple. Okay, golden age.
Been more vociferous about it than any Western government. In a 2014 speech, Viktor Ivanov, then Russia's.
Okay, got anything on that? That video is, if you want to watch it, while you watched Venezuela, Trump quietly put Canada up to notice, and the channel is Promethean Updates. You got any feedback on that?
Yes, sir. How, Brother, how would this affect the Sahel?
Well,
or the AU?
Well, they already got plans. We see right now, like I'm saying, this is what they got planned. And it's in direct collision with the Most High's prophecies in the last days. This is what they got planned. So we already see they already got their sights on the Sahel when what they doing with Nigeria. Right?
Right, true.
They got, and then we saw what they just done with Venezuela. And I was talking earlier in the week, I think it was Sunday at the Sunday Advanced Bible Study, was they gonna Venezuela is supposed to be making a big deal with China and Russia this week, pertaining to that oil that they have over there. Venezuela got the biggest oil deposit it is in the world. It was gonna, and January 1st, the petrodollar was done away with. So what you just saw happen had to happen when it happened, because the guy Moderna, whoever that guy is in Venezuela, he was getting ready to make a deal with Russia and China for oil. And Russia and China, especially China, with the Rolling Belt Initiative, that oil is the focal point of their whole everything they done set up, everything they done built. They need that cheap oil out of Venezuela to keep everything going with the Rolling Belt Initiative. So they came in, Trump came in to cut it off, which is, like I said, all hell from the break loose, because he done stepped on their toes. And people don't understand that. But the hidden hand behind all of it is Esau. He's bringing this whole thing down. It's a slow demo job. And like I say over and over again, you can do with it what you want to do with it. All I'm gonna do is break it down. So what you think? You got anything else on that?
Shalom. I'm sorry, excuse me. That all of that makes sense though. Especially because we know what they have planned. So, and you need resources to accomplish that plan.
Right. Like she just showed you about all the money they got. The real banking system is off the grid. The money that the world dealing with, Esau got, like she said, 200 years. They got 14 different accounts of trillions of dollars that is off the record, off the grid. So when they collapse everything on the world, they got money, they got it, what they need. To do what they're gonna do. Temple, they ain't gotta worry about the Muslims no more. The mosque gonna be sitting there for, they're gonna get rid of that, and then they want to build a temple. That's what this is all about. As far as they're concerned, they past due. They're supposed to been built the temple. Everything you're seeing though is they manipulating the world to get to that point where they want to build that temple. And like I said, when you go back and look at all these Hebrew Christians and all that, they're gonna flip out if they do build it. Because they all bent out of shape on JC. An idol. Okay? But that's what their plans is. I really don't think it's going, when you look at scripture, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'm just showing you what they doing, their plans are. Okay?
Right, yes, sir.
Yeah, it's okay. So now, without further ado, I'm gonna deal with unlike all the other information that I received, downloaded, we're gonna deal with a greater understanding on who the Lord of Hosts is. Just gonna cement what we already know, right? So let me get it. You got to bear with me because let me get it. We know, let me read it first. Let me read it. Let me read this right here. I'm always going here. Right back when I first got the revelation on this, and it was shown to me, the light was shined on it. I'm gonna start with that. I was in Isaiah. Okay. Like I said, you're gonna have to bear with me, tie your shoes up. So I'm in Isaiah 44. Okay, I'm in Isaiah 44. This, like, I don't subscribe. We don't subscribe to the New Testament. Anybody that happen to chime in over here, don't deal with the New Testament. Don't deal with JC, Peter and Paul and all them. That's concoction from the Greeks and the Romans. Concocted all that. And you know, we don't deal with idols. Curses tell us that he's gonna kick us out of our land, which happened with the Antioch Epiphanes, and we brought us over here, and we're gonna serve other gods. He ain't said nothing about us serving no son. He kicked us out. He didn't deal with us no more. He disconnected himself from us. So which one is it? He disconnected himself from us, or did he send somebody to come and lay hands on people? Which one is it? We know that he disconnected himself from us. That's why we that's why we've been in all this tribulation that we in. All the drama that's going on because he disconnected himself. But he promised us in the last days he's gonna return to us. We're gonna go to the scriptures and search the scriptures out. Then we're gonna find him in the latter days. That's where we at. So I'm gonna go back to where I was at, chapter 44, verses. I'm gonna read 1 through 5 first, but my punchline is Isaiah 6, right? It says, "Ye yet hear, O Jacob, 12 tribes, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus says the Lord, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel." This is suffering servant right here, Jacob, not Jesus. Israel, the nation of Israel is a suffering servant. O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel, whom I have chosen, for I will pour water upon him. Why are you gonna pour water on us? Because we've been hoodwinked. They denigrated a bunch of our books, denigrated our forefathers. We got Abraham a drunk. He can't wait to get off the boat and make some wine. Jacob a usurper. Okay, they didn't denigrate everything in our book. Okay, and then took the Lord of hosts, gave us another redeemer. When the Lord of hosts is our redeemer, Michael is our redeemer. Okay, so they didn't gave us JC. Okay, so anyway, it says, "I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, floods upon dry ground, and I will pour my spirit upon thy seed." See that? Not the Gentiles. I'm gonna pour my spirit upon thy seed. This is all gonna happen in the last days, where we at now. I'll pour my spirit upon thy seed and my blessings upon thy offspring. Don't sound like Gentiles to me. Okay. 4, and they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water course, one by one. That's what we're looking at. Okay, we're in the midst of that. 5, one shall say, "I am the Lord's," and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. So let me make this plain. Verse 5 says, "One shall," this is what we're doing now. "One shall say, I am the Lord's." So I'm gonna show you who that Lord is. It ain't JC. Okay, now I'm in verse 6. "Thus says the Lord, the King of Israel, and," see that? "And his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts." There go your Lord. The Lord of hosts. "I am the first, I am the last, and besides me, there's no God." So like I said before, I done had all kind of so-called super sharp Israelites. They want to come and they want to break that down and they want to they want to continue to try to make JC work. Well, let's go and break it out. Let's break it down. So and see why he's talking the way he's talking. Verse 6, "Thus says the Lord, the King of Israel," like I said, proper English, "and." So once you see the "and," it's another being. It's more than one being. It ain't Yah only. It's more than one being. So he says, "Thus says the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts." So Yahweh and the Lord of hosts, two different beings. This Lord of hosts is Michael. He's over the Most High's host. He's the second in charge in Israel, in the land, in heaven. He's the strong one. He's the strong one of the Most High's kingdom. Just like Nebuchadnezzar had Zardan, Nebuzaradan over his kingdom, Yahweh got a strong one over his kingdom. He can't deal. He's a consuming fire. He can't deal with his creation. He had to have a being to deal with his creation for him. And so, what is Michael's name? He who creates. He who is like Yahweh. There's no other angel like him. Creator had to make him to run his kingdom. That's why it tells you it was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with Satan and his angels. Don't say nothing about JC angels, or it don't say nothing about Yahweh angels. Michael and his angels, because he's the Lord of hosts over the Most High kingdom. Okay, so we see that right there. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, let's go. Let's get in it. Okay, like I said, tie your shoes up. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to deal with these scriptures as they come. So let me get it. Let me see where I need to go. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy. You know, I got so much, man. So anyway, I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 4. We're gonna remember what I just read. Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last, and besides me there is no God. So it's two beings right there. Creator, Yahweh, and the Lord of hosts, his Redeemer. Like I said before, we don't have no time to fumble with it. Michael is the Lord of hosts. Yahweh and his Redeemer, Michael is the Lord of hosts. That's who went to Egypt and delivered the Israelites out of Egypt. That's who came to Adam in the cool of the day, not Yahweh. That's who came to when Hezekiah prayed and killed 185,000 Syrians. The Lord of hosts, the Redeemer. That's who came to Egypt and saved the Israelites. Okay, so it's Yahweh and his Redeemer. It's two of them. Okay, so now let's go to Deuteronomy. Okay, chapter 4. Tie your shoes up. Okay, here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 4. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start at verse 1 because this whole chapter is loaded, but it's gonna take us to where we need to go. Let me see how I'm gonna do this. Okay. Okay, I'm starting at verse 1. It says, now, therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, or to do them, that ye may live and go and possess the land which the Lord thy God, your fathers, giveth you. So this Lord thy God is Michael. Remember that. Okay. 2, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, and neither shall ye diminish out from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Well, let me go somewhere else right quick. Make it a little more plainer for you. I'm gonna go to Exodus. This is one of my this is a golden scripture right here. Let me go here right quick. Get a little better understanding on what's going on. I mean, Exodus 23 and 20. And like I said, nothing what I'm reading, I didn't write it. Okay, it's been there. It's just that it's been hidden and hoodwinked. So I'm in 23, Exodus 23. Anybody been on this channel should know. I'm in 23 and 20. We on Mount Sinai, and the creator God, Yahweh, came down on Mount Sinai, and he's talking to Moses in verse 20. He says, behold, I send an angel. See that? I send an angel. JC, not an angel. I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. So Yahweh got an angel to do all this for him. He ain't doing it. He got an angel. Like I said, he sent an angel to Adam in the cool of the day. That wasn't Yahweh. This angel that's been there from the beginning. So he says, 21, beware of him. He's telling Moses this. Beware this angel, obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. This should ring a bell, because this is what they put on JC. But we see right here it's an angel. He's overseeing. So if anybody's gonna die, anybody gonna get beat with a cat of nine tails, it's gonna be him. Anybody gonna get their beard plucked out, it's gonna be him. So he says, he will not pardon your transgression, this angel will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. Okay, same thing they telling you about JC. Okay, 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, see that? Yahweh speaking to this angel. And he gonna come tell Israel. So if you do all that he tell you that I told him, see that? That's what he's saying. Then I will be an enemy unto thy enemies and an adversary unto thine adversary. So go back to what I just read. Let me do it right quick. Isaiah. Let me read it. Let me make this plain. So now I'm in Isaiah 44. Read it again. Verse 6, Isaiah 44 and 6. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer. You go to Redeemer. They didn't told you JC the Redeemer. And his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first. Look what he say. I am the first, and I am the last. Remember that. I am the first, and I am the last. Besides me, there's no God. Now let's go back to Deuteronomy. Now I can read Deuteronomy chapter 4. Okay. So now I'm in back and forth. In verse 3. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal-peor, for all the men that follow Baal-peor, the Lord thy God, he goes, the Lord of hosts, the Lord thy God have destroyed them. Did he say Yahweh? When you understand what's going on. The Lord thy God have destroyed them from among you. But ye that did cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes. Look at this. See that? Remember what the 200 angels did. They came down and taught mankind. So whoever teaching Israel, he's an angel. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me. See that? I told you. He just told me. Listen to what he say. Everything he telling you, I told him. So he says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whether ye shall go to possess it. Keep thereof and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who have God? See that? God so nigh unto them as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for. And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as this law, which I set before you this day? Only take heed to this verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy son's son, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, right? When the Lord had said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, that they may teach their children. So you say, you know, this brother off track. Let me backtrack right quick. I'm gonna read this right here. I'm gonna make it plain. Negroes ain't reading like this. So it says 10, especially the day that thou stood before them. Look at this. Especially I'm in verse 10, Deuteronomy 4 and 10. Especially the day that thou stood before the Lord thy God in horror, right? So we in horror. Let's go back. So you got to do this, right? So let's go to Exodus chapter 3, right quick. I want to make it plain. So I'm in Exodus chapter 3. Here we go, right here. Chapter 3 of Exodus, verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and he came to the mountain of God. See that? He came to the mountain of God, even the Horeb. Now verse 2. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him. See that? So what they saying, God is his angel. The Yahweh just told them, I'm gonna send an angel. I just came down here for 6 days and a Sabbath. I'm going back up. This angel gonna be here. This who you dealing with. Deal with him. He's my representative. He's the Redeemer. Deal with him. Okay? Right here. Like I said, I didn't write it. Verse 2. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame over fire. Remember that. Appeared unto him in a flame over fire out of the midst of the bush. Not Yahweh, in the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. Go to the fiery furnace. Who came in the fiery furnace? It ain't Yahweh. Angel of the Lord came. Nebuchadnezzar said he looked, he put 3 men in there, but now it's 4 in there. One like the Son of God. That's the angel. Angels are sons of God. Same angel right here. So let's go back. I'm just going to make it plain for you. So now I'm in verse 10, 4 and 10, Deuteronomy 4 and 10. Go back here. We're going somewhere, right? Okay, now here we go. 4 and 10. Okay, 4 and 10 says, surely the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb. I just showed you that's the angel. And when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me. See that? All the days that they shall live upon the earth, that they may teach their children. And you came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and a thick darkness. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. See that? And ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude, only ye heard a voice. Let me read it again. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. Ye heard the voice of the words, but you saw no similitude, only ye heard a voice. Now let's go to 3. And he described and he declared unto me his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even the 10 commandments that he wrote them upon 2 tablets. Now let's look at that right quick. We got to do this. So it says in verse 13, and he declared unto you his covenant. So who got the covenant? Let's go right quick. This is somebody that ain't been on here on this line, so they don't know this. So I'm in chapter 2, right quick. We get it. Chapter 2, verse 1 of Judges. Chapter 2, verse 1. And the angel of the Lord, and the angel of the Lord, and the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham, and he said, I made you to go up out of Egypt. I have brought you into the land which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant. This who got the covenant. Right here. Not Yahweh. This is who Israel got the covenant with. I said, I will never break my covenant with you. So now let's get back over here. I got to do this. Okay, so be back in 4. 12. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. Ye have heard the voice of the word, but saw no similitude, only ye heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even the 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon tables of stone. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes, judgments, that ye might do them in the land whether ye go to possess it. Now here we go. This is what I mean at. Starting at verse 15. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of a similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb, out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, and likeness of a male or a female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Unless you lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, check it out. And when thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, should it be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God have divided unto all the nations under the whole heaven. Now here you go. Here we go right here. It's going to clarify Isaiah 44:6, right? The Lord and his Redeemer, right? But the Lord have taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, this is the Lord of hosts, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as it is this day. Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me for your sake, and swore that I should not go over Jordan, is Moses talking, and that I should not go in unto the good land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for the inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not go over Jordan, but ye shall go over and possess that good land. Take heed unto yourselves, lest ye forget the covenant of the Lord. See that? We know who got the covenant, the angel of the Lord, your God, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, or the likeness of anything which the Lord thy God have forbidden thee. Now here you go, 24. For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire. Check it out. The Lord thy God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. When thou shalt begat children and children's children, and ye shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves and make a graven image or a likeness of anything, or ye shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God to provoke him to anger. Now here you go. Here you go. Right here. I call upon heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whither thou goest over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, right, but shall surely be destroyed. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathens, whether the Lord thy God lead you. That's what we at now, right? 28. And there ye shall serve other gods. See that? Not him. We over here, we serving other gods. There ye shall serve other gods, the work of man's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from thence thou shalt seek, here you go. That's what we're doing now. But if thou from thence shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him. Here you go. If thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Now here you go. Here go your answer. 30. When thou art in the tribulation, that's where we at, the tribulation, contrary to what they told you. And all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God and shalt be obedient unto him. I just told you, he told him, listen to the angel, obey his voice, right? And unto his voice. For the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forget, he will not forget thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he swore unto them. For ask now of the days that are past, which are before thee, since the day that God created man upon the earth, and ask from one side of heaven unto the other, whether there have been any such thing as the great thing is, or have been heard like. Did ever a people hear? Check it out. This is what AJ be talking about right here. Say, did ever a people hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of a fire, as thou hast heard, and live? So let's clarify it. So we see in Deuteronomy, Exodus chapter 3, Michael is the one. He landed on a bush. He's a consuming fire. He's a consuming fire. Then Yahweh that's in heaven spoke through him. Both of them there. He's speaking. He's in heaven. He's speaking through Michael to Moses in the bush. So let's keep going. And did ever people hear? Right here. Did ever people hear the voice of God speaking out of the fire, out of the midst of the fire, and thou heard and lived? Only reason they lived because he ain't there. He's speaking through Michael. And they heard what he was saying, and they lived. Now watch this. Or have God a say to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation by temptation, by signs, by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by a great terror, and according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes. Unto thee it will show. Here we go right here. Unto thee it will show that ye might have known that the Lord, he is God. Check it out. He is God. There's none else besides him. Now watch who he is. Out of heaven, he made thee to hear his voice. That's Yahweh. Out of heaven, he made thee to hear thy voice, that he might instruct thee. And upon the earth, he showed thee that great fire. There you go. That's Deuteronomy chapter 44 and 6. Both of them. Let me read it again. Out of heaven, he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct thee. And upon the earth, he showed thee his great fire. And thou heardest his words out of the midst of the fire. There it is. Okay. And said, and because he loved thy fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them and brought thee out in his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt. So what is his mighty power? Yahweh mighty power. Michael. Now 38. To drive out nations from before thee, greater and mightier than thou art. To bring thee into the to give thee their land for an inheritance, as it is this day. Now here you go again. Second witness. Know therefore this day and consider it in thine heart that the Lord, he is God in heaven above and upon the earth. See that? There's none else. They go both of them again. Let me read it again. Know therefore this day and consider it in thine heart that the Lord, he is God in heaven above and upon the earth beneath. There's none else. They go both of them again. And you say, what you talking about? Let's go one more place. Give you another example. Okay. This is what you got to recalibrate. So anyway, look at this. I'm in Exodus right quick. You say, well, what you talking about, brother? Let's go right here. Look at this. Right quick. Let me get it. This is a pillar of fire, right? When they came out of Egypt. 17. And it came to pass when the Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, that they return to Egypt. But God, look at this. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up, harnessed out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straightway sworn children of Israel, saying, God is surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away hence with you. And they took their journey from Sikloth and encamped at Etham in the edge of the wilderness. And now here we go. And the Lord went before them by day in the pillar of a cloud, and he led them by the way, and by night in a pillar of fire. There they go again, to give them light, right? And to go by day and by night, both of them. They one and the same. This is where they get it from with JC. There it is. Okay, let that frame. Let me read it again over here. Verse 36 in Deuteronomy chapter 4, 36. The Lord, I'm 35. Unto thee it was showed, talking to our forefathers, unto thee it was showed that thou mayest know that the Lord, he is God. See that? That's why it's saying this. There is none else besides him. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he may instruct thee. And upon the earth he showed thee this great fire. And thou heard of his words, and out of the midst thereof the fire. And once you get the revelation on that, everywhere you go, you're going to see that. That's what's going on. That's what they didn't denigrate. Understand that the Most High don't get no plainer than that. And like I said, you can do with it what you want. Put it on your back or let it roll off like water on a duck back, whatever you want to do with it. Okay? Any comments?
Shalom, brother Leonard. You made it pretty clear with all those precepts. But once I was shown, I will say, sir, once you showed me that, then I can't help but see the Lord of hosts all throughout the Old Testament.
Oh yeah, there it is. They work simultaneously. He says one and the same, but it's the way he created this angel that's like him. And then once you see that, what he just showed them, it was showed our forefathers. And then you go back to the beginning in the creation, you see it. Then you see it. Like, let's look at it right quick. You see it again right here. He says, right here, let's look at it. Chapter 1, Genesis 1. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God, Yahweh, created the heavens and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God, it's the angel of God. Angel of God moved upon the water. They go both of them again. They working simultaneously. So when you go to 44 and 6, he tells you, I'm the king and my redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I'm the first and the last. That's both of them. That's how you got to rightly divide that. And that's what these nut buckets have done to us. And then you see it all through the scriptures. And they done discombobulated over there when they brought JC on the scene. Like I said, what they use with typology. Talking about he got the Father name in him. When he just told you who got his name in him. He told us that in Exodus 23 and 20. This angel got his name in him. From the very beginning. Ain't that something?
Right, yes, sir.
It's all over. Once you get the revelation on chapter, what I just read in Deuteronomy 4 and 36 and 26, you go on, man. There it is. He said, I showed you. You saw it. When you saw it, you saw when you heard my voice from heaven, but you saw the fire that's down on earth. The fire is the Lord of hosts. And that's why they live. They heard his voice and live. Because they heard Yahweh's voice. But Michael was the one on earth. Come on. And he continues to keep telling you about his footstool. What's the footstool? The earth. Michael's on the earth. Like I said, the temple that's in Jerusalem ain't none of the Yahweh temple. Yahweh temple is in heaven. David and Solomon and all them, they ain't dealing with Yahweh. They're dealing with the Lord of hosts. David got a desire to build a temple for the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem, in Mount Zion. Not Yahweh. Come on. And then you remember we always was talking about that verse. It was clear, it had clarity on it then, but this gave it way more clarity when he says that they didn't know him as God Almighty. Remember that? When he first went to Egypt?
Right. Yes, sir.
They ain't know me as God Almighty, but they knew me as Jehovah. See what I'm saying? But after he came and he shut down Egypt and delivered the Israelites out of that, then they knew it's two of them. They're the same. They're working, you know what I mean? They in sequence. Come on. Like I say, do with it what you want. You know, we see that he said in the last days, we're gonna find out who he is. In the latter days, he's gonna bring it out, and then you're gonna consider it. The Israelite, the Hebrew, he's gonna consider it. Okay? Is there something?
Right. And Brother Leonard, real quick, the name Michael.
Yeah.
Just how did that tie into his purpose?
His name means he was like Yahweh. He's like Yahweh. There's no other angel like him. He's like Yahweh. He operates like Yahweh. That's why I was saying when they couldn't distinguish the difference until when he came to Egypt, delivered the Israelites. And then he, like I just read, he said, when I came to Egypt and I delivered you out of Egypt, you became my inheritance. And Yahweh can't come down here. He's a consuming fire. He's gonna burn you up. You can't deal with you. So in the very beginning, before we did anything, he created him. That's who dealing with his creation. And you say, well, what are you talking about? That's why Mordecai, he could have made Mordecai the king, but he made Mordecai second in charge because that's where he ruling from. Joseph, he could have made Joseph the Pharaoh, but he made Joseph second in charge. And you see that all through the scriptures in the Old Testament. He's making them second in charge because that's where he ruling from. He got a counselor. Okay, and like I said before, you ain't gonna wake up and roll over on the side of the bed and get this information and rightly divide it. It's a process. Okay. So yeah. That answer the question?
Right. Sure.
Okay. You got anything else? Or if you don't, you can pick a scripture.
Oh yes, sir. In Deuteronomy 32, verse 8 and 9, and Brother Leonard, I was gonna read this out of the Targum as well, because it kind of reads how it read in the verse I read earlier. And so, but with a little different information. And so verse 8 says, when the Most High made an allotment of the world unto the nations, which proceeded from the sons of Noah, in the separation of the writings and languages of the children of men at the time of the division, he cast the lot among the 70 angels, the princes of the nations, with whom is the revelation to oversee the city. Even at that time, he established the limits of the nations according to the sum of the number of the 70 souls of Israel who went down into Mizraim. And when the holy people fell to the lot of the Lord of all the world, Michael opened his lips and said, let the good portion of the name of the Lord's word be with him. And Gabriel, yes, sir. And Gabriel opened his lips with thanksgivings and said, let the house of Jacob be the lot of his inheritance. In Shalom, that was Deuteronomy 32, verses 8 and 9 in the Targum of Jonathan.
Exactly, right. So you can see, like I said before, they didn't alter everything, but now we in the last days, everything is being, the Lord of hosts is bringing everything to the right knowledge. Okay, let me read this right quick. This is about the covenant. They big on this JC, the blood of the covenant, right? Let me read this right quick. And then we'll go to people. Matter of fact, this will be the scripture right here that I'm gonna read for picking the scripture. I'm in Exodus. Okay. Chapter 24. Exodus 24. And I'm reading 4 and 8. This got to do with the blood of the covenant. This is 24, 4 through 8. Okay. 24, 4 through 8 says, and Moses, I'm gonna start at 1. And he said unto Moses, this is the Lord of hosts talking to Moses. He said unto Moses, come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nabahu, Abijah, the 70 elders in Israel, and worship ye afar off. And Moses alone shall come near to the Lord, but thou shalt not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people, check it out. Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice. The people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord hath said we would do. So go back to Exodus 23 and 20. They're dealing with an angel. Okay, let me get it. That was 4. 5. Let me see. 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord and rose up early in the morning and built an altar. Check it out. And built an altar under the hill. And 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Now here we go. And he sent young men, check it out. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offer burnt offerings and sacrifice peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. Now 6. And Moses took half of the blood. Here go the blood. And Moses took half of the blood, put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the people. Now here you go. 7. And he took the book of the covenant, this is the law, and he read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord hath said we would do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood. You got the blood right here. Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and he said, behold, the blood of the covenant. Come on. So what the hell is that in the New Testament? See that? And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and he said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord have made with you are concerning these words. They got the blood of the covenant right there. But like I said before, because of what's been done to us, we read over this until the Most High gets somebody to shine a light on it. They got the blood of the covenant right there. So let me make it a little more plain. So if you thinking like a Hebrew, when the Lord of hosts called the 70 elders up there, right? And then it says in 3, Moses came and told the people all the words with the Lord of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered and said with one voice, said, all the words which the Lord hath said we would do. Then Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and he rose up early in the morning and he built an altar. So if he built an altar, then he got to make some sacrifices. If he makes some sacrifices, some of it belong to them. They got to eat it. Okay, look at this. Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and he rose up early in the morning, built an altar under the hill, 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men. See that? He sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrifice offerings and peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. So we know part of it belonged to the people, to the Israelites. I mean, yeah, to the Israelites. So he says, Moses took offered this, okay, 6. Moses took half of the blood, put it in a basin, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Okay, so like I said, part of it for them, they gotta eat it. These 70 elders. You're gonna see that in a minute. 8. And Moses took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord have made with you concerning these words. Then went up Moses, Abihu, Aaron, Nabal, Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel, and they saw, back to what I just showed you, they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, the paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in its clearness. And upon the nobles and upon the children of Israel, he laid not his hand. Also, they saw God, and did eat, there you go, did eat and drink. See that? So you say, what are you talking about? Let's go. What are you talking about? Okay. Genesis 18. Let's go to Genesis 18. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Genesis 18. Here we go. See, the Lord appeared. This angel of the Lord, appeared unto him. This Genesis 18:1. The Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. Lifted up his eyes and looked. Lo, there are 3 men, these 3 angels, stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them by the tent door, bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, it's the angel, Michael, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Now watch what happened. Let a little water, I pray thee, be fetched. Wash your feet. Okay, like I told you, typology. Now, you get to the New Testament, they putting this on JC. And I will fetch a morsel of bread. Go back up. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched. Wash your feet. See that? And rest yourself under the tree. See that? And I will fetch a morsel of bread. Same thing we just read. I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your hearts. After that, ye shall pass on. Pass on. For therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, do so. These angels said. They said, do so, as thou hast said. Now watch this. Abraham hastened into the tent under Sarah and said, make ready quickly 3 morsels of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the heat. Now watch this. And Abraham ran into the herd, just like we just saw over there in 24. He ran into the herd, and he fetched the calf tender and good, gave it unto the young men, and hastened to dress it. Now here you go. And he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Same thing over there. Like I say, as long as you're dealing with JC, you ain't gonna see none of this. You're gonna fumble with it. Okay. So, with that being said, you got anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, so with that, with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. So, like I said, you want some more of this? You can come stop by every Tuesday. We got Bible briefing. Okay, shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.